Good evening, my good family and friends in the YouTube land of the living. I want to weigh in my little sentiments on this whole Chris Rock and Will Smith debacle. At first, I wasn't even going to come to YouTube with it because I said something about it on my Facebook page. But at the end of the day, I feel compelled to come to you guys now that I've said it over on my Facebook platform. I first and foremost would like it to be known that I do not condone violence as an option first, as well as I do not condone bullying. Those are two things that I saw in this whole little situation that I will be speaking on today. First and foremost, there's violence. No, there was bullying first, and then there was violence. And now that the violence has ensued behind the bullying, people are weighing in on the one who was violent and not the one who was bullying as well. I don't care what past you had as a child. I don't care how bad people treated you when you were a child. While I empathize with people being bullied as a child, I do not have any sympathy for a person who has gone through bullying to now become the bully. Okay? And so when we were watching this whole little live show and we heard Chris Rock come up to the stage, he begins to talk about the people who were a part of the category who were getting or who had been nominated for an award. Instead of it being where he stayed at, you looking out into the audience, you saw a person of which sitting out there you have already chosen to shoot your mouth off about. Okay? And then we also see this person hearing you saying what you got to say, getting discomfortable with it. And then we see after the husband of it was laughing, and then he looked to the left and saw that his spouse was not happy with what was going on. In my mindset, that is not her giving him the side eye to go up there and do anything. No, that's then her looking at her husband for comfort, because right now, in front of millions of people, I once again am under fire for what is going on with me. That nor you can do anything to help me with, because with alopecia, I have a cousin who has it, and she's a beautiful lady, or whatever the case may be. But as women, especially black women, can't speak on white ones or whatever the case may be, because I'll never be one. But I will say, as a black female of 37 years, when it comes down to this stuff right here, when it's not up to par where we want it to be, it's a self-conscious thing that we work into. And I get it. It's a self-consciousness. But at the end of the day, we all know that in life, somewhere in our whole little DNA, we want to be accepted by people regardless to what is going on in our lives. Okay? So now, and I deviated away from the subject just to give a little backstory on women in general. You have a man who went to school where he was in New York, being mentally and physically as well as emotionally abused by people at his school, called all kinds of names, being left by himself because nobody liked him or whatever the case may find itself being, who has grown up into a man and has an understanding that being bullied by anybody who has no reason to do so, how that feels. And then himself becomes a dang bully. Not once, probably not even twice, you have done this to this female. Now, I get it. Let me take a little backstory again. August Alsina and Jada-Pinkett Smith had a little entanglement. Okay. And everybody's concerned that Will didn't have very much to say about what was going on, or didn't do much when it came down to him actually dealing with August Alsina. Here's the deal on that. That's my concept. I'm going to give it to you. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. That's your problem. But in my mindset, when it comes to the August Alsina thing, this man was not in the room, thankfully, when his wife and this dude were messing around sexually. Okay? So he got a chance to hear it after it had gone on. Hear it again. He was not in the room with Jada-Pinkett Smith and August Alsina's crazy in was having sexual intercourse. He was not in the room. So he didn't get a chance to be discomforted by seeing it. But after it came out into the news, then he got a chance to see and feel things that he was seeing and feeling. And I guess maybe he tried to save face because of everybody's expectation of him being the man, Mr. Mike Lowry, or whatever the case may be. He was supposed to lay it down or whatever the case may be. But when you are going through other stuff that you are trying to assess, and then your spouse become a part of the ones that are mentally abusing and emotionally abusing you, and to be cheated on by your spouse, I don't care how you feel about it. We may fall out, we may this, that, and the third. But when your spouse becomes a person that contributes to the things that you are stressing over, that hurts. Okay? So move forward on from that to this. When it came down to this show that Chris Rock was a part of hosting, this man was sitting in the room, and as a fellow comedian, he heard Chris Rock speaking on things that were funny in the moment. But then when he looked to his left, or whichever side she was freaking sitting on, he saw that his wife was uncomfortable with what was being said. We already have our other issues. I'm pretty sure this was Will's sentiment. I mean, I'm not sure, but I will paraphrase. I'm pretty sure he respected Chris Rock as a comedian. He accepted the fact that he was one of those kind that didn't leave anything out, that everything was accessible to him. Okay, so he, to save face, once again, is laughing at the fact that somebody is shooting shots negatively at his wife, trying to laugh it off, maybe comfort his wife while it's going on, just like, okay, baby, it's going to be okay. Let him say what he got to say, do what he got to do, whatever. We're going to get up out of here. Because I have my own little thing coming right after this. And then when he looked at his wife, whatever she's going through in her own life, maybe that day, as things were getting ready to progress, maybe she had already had her feel of things already. I'm just, assuming. Maybe she had already had a day already with getting prepared for the Grammys, all the excitement that goes into your husband doing a job well done with the movie that he's in, the hype that comes behind, oh, my man was good, he did this, he did that. And so you're already on the stress side, but then somebody gets up there and shoots shots at your head like they have done before. And so now it's just like, man, this is just too much. I can't deal with this no more, bro. I can't. And so she looked over or whatever, and he saw the discomfort. Now, that didn't mean that she wanted him to get up and hit him. It was just like, baby, we didn't come here for this. We really did not come here for this type of the thing to happen in the show. And it's just like, I wish he would stop. So with this man being the husband that he is to a woman that's cheated and whatever else, and him doing whatever he's done, it's just like, okay, enough is enough. My time now is to get up because I'm overly full with this little mess that's going on, and I need to go put a stop to it. Now, I saw when he stood in front of Chris Rock, before he smacked the spit out his face, he hesitated a second, and then he slapped him, and he walked away, fixing his little blaze up, whatever the jacket was he had on, and then went and sat his behind down, and then voiced his opinion about keeping his wife's name out of his mouth. You don't want nobody to say nothing about whatever you got going on in your life, so okay, it is what it is. So after the whole little situation, I'm pretty sure now the sense that God gave a mule has not been smacked into Chris Rock's face. And maybe the hinge that was left loose that kept his mouth open as long as it did while he was talking about that woman's head possibly latched into his rationale and said, oh Lord, I done went the wrong way. I've said the wrong thing, but it's too freaking late because this man done already slapped the taste out of my mouth. Okay, so now we gonna go on further and say this much right here. You had bullying going on by a person who grew up being bullied. Then get slapped in the face by a man who was already overly stressed about other things that he was trying to overcome and whatever the case may be. Now, I'm getting ready to come to a close on this one because I don't want to be too long. But the whole part is, I stand by the fact that when you have gone through as much as you can possibly go through, and a person wants to continuously come for you, while you're not going to tell them not to come, you will let them know when you do, you're not going to like what's going to come with me, bro. You're not going to like it. And guess what? I'm not going to care because you didn't. Okay? You didn't care about, and then not only did you not care, you sat there and you laughed about what you were saying. You saw the eye roll on this woman's face. Okay? You saw her getting uncomfortable and you just kept on going and said, oh, it was just a small one. What? So you can tell her, oh, it was just a small one. That's basically like, oh, girl, get over it, get over it. No. Did you get over it when those kids were bullying you? Did you just so easily get over it when people were bullying you? No. Did you? No. I've seen some videos that Chris Rock have been in talking to people at the breakfast table and all these different places about how hard it was for him to get over being bullied when he was being bullied when he was in school. I've seen him talking about how much trauma it caused him to go through being bullied when he was younger and having to work harder to keep up with what was going on within his head. And then for you to turn around and be the same exact person who is bullying a person who you have said things about before. Now you're having people who are behind you talking about the other person is wrong, but not talking about how much wrong it is for you too to have done what you did, and then want to go and try to factor in the August Alsine and this, that, and the third. If we don't learn one thing, we need to learn this. You can only put so much weight on a bridge that is already falling down before everything becomes London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. In the weight upon that person's shoulder is going to become a weapon for them to use for your destruction or their own. And people need to stop trying to be so one-sided with what was wrong, because two wrongs don't make a right, and you can't shine more light on one wrong without showing it on the other. Chris Rock was just as wrong as Will Smith was for smacking the taste out of his mouth. Okay? If Will was wrong for him smacking the taste out of his mouth, doggone it, Chris Rock was wrong for opening his mouth saying anything about that man's wife. You were not on that stage to talk about G.I. Jane 2. You were on that stage to inform the gallery of people, plus the millions of people who are watching this show, on the people that were in the category for that movie. You went all the way left. I'm pretty sure that was not on a teleprompter, and if it was, doggone, they were wrong too. But I will say this. While both aspects of it was wrong, I truly, truly am angry to see that this man has dropped out of a category or an academy for something he's worked many, many years to get to. And that anyone would demand that this man be stripped of the title that he worked hard for over the fact that he slapped the taste out of somebody's mouth, who should have had the taste slapped out of his mouth long before he did slap the taste out of his mouth. And the other thing of it is, if he wanted, which is Chris Rock, if he wanted to say something about that woman, you should have pulled them to the side. That should have been after the show or before the show or whatever the case may find itself in. You should have put it in a text message. It should have been on an email. You should have this, that, and the third. But you chose to get on the stage and use that as a tool or a platform to go and bully somebody. And then when the taste gets slapped out your doggone mouth, now you want to, well, Will just slapped me. You better be glad he didn't punch your in. That's what you better be glad of. Because that's really what you deserve. You deserve to have the taste knocked out your mouth and knocked you into next week. And I don't care how people feel about that, because at the end of the day, if you were bullied at one point, how dare you now become a bully? Huh? How dare you? You've been the one that was bullied, and you're going to go and you're going to become what you hated? Does that not sound hypocritical to you? Does it? Because it does me. It sounds like a hypocrite. And then this little brother, Mr. Tony Rock, wants to go and talking about what happened to his brother. Well, you want to defend your brother being hit, but not go and talk to your brother about his mouth. Because you already know what your brother has said about these people. Okay? And I'm pretty sure you was kikiing it up, but now that your brother done got his face checked, now you want to go and try to chime in on the person who did it. Well, I'm not sorry to tell you, Mr. Tony Rock, that you are just as wrong as your dang brother. Okay? Your brother should be told, man, I know you like to say things. I know this, that, and the third, but whatever the case may be, sometimes you need to know when to say things and when not to. Because the same thing that you did to her is the same thing that you hated that was done to you. But no, we don't want to do that, Mr. Rock. Mr. Tony Rock, you don't want to do that. You don't want to tell your brother he was wrong. You want to keep on assuming that the best thing for you to do is be all rah-rah with Will Smith. And Jada, at the end of the day, I understand that you did not want Will to hit people, but why let the public know that? Because at the end of the day, if my husband made a decision to go and slap the taste out somebody's mouth, I'm not going to go and be public with what I didn't want him to do it. No, ma'am. Because, see, now I'm sitting up here agreeing with the other little idiots who are talking about your husband. You have now stepped into the same realm. I didn't want him to do it. Okay. Okay. You have now just co-signed to everybody, all of the other negative Nancy's talking about Will Smith was wrong. No, he was not as wrong as you want to put it. He should have, at the end of the day, had the whole little bullying session not happened, he wouldn't have had a chance to go and slap the taste out of nobody about. That wouldn't have been anything for him to slap the taste out of his mouth for. But I do pray to God that after all of this simmers down and is all said and done, that we take this as a tool of learning how to treat people. Stop thinking that the way you handle things is the best way to do it, because it is freaking not. It's not. That's not how you handle people. You don't want it done to you, but you think it's funny when it's done to somebody else. It's not. Because the same hurt that you had when it was going on with you is the same dang hurt that goes on with the other person that you was doing it to. The bullied now becomes the bullier. Okay? At any rate,